everybody. Welcome to this Concrete5 training. We're going to do basic theme development today. So,
working on a basic HTML template. So, starting from just strict HTML, no CMS capabilities, no interactivity, and we are going to port it into Concrete5. We should be able to get a significant amount of work done in just the couple hours that we have today.
okay, you should be viewing my screen now. This is a completely blank Concrete5 site, so when you're working on a new Concrete5 site, it's nice to be able to usually use the sample content install to get started, because it gives you kind of an inkling of how Concrete works and what pages look like when they're in edit mode and how multiple blocks look on pages, and it builds out a site that actually looks like something. But if you're actually making a completely new site with a new theme, usually you're going to want to start from scratch. So that's what I did here. I installed a blank Concrete5 site, and so when I log into this site, I could put it in edit mode, and there is a there are some editable areas because this is using a theme, because every Concrete5 site does in fact need a theme, but there's nothing non-essential has been added to this site. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this blank site, which is currently using the most basic Concrete5 theme out there, plain yogurt, and we are going to make it look more or less like this. This is a free template from the internet I just found online and searching this morning. It's called Darkness, and as you can see, it has a couple different page types, full width page type, a home page, etc. Pretty basic stuff. We're not going to get to all of these elements, but we should get to a fair amount of them, and by the end you'll see how easy it is to really get started making a Concrete5 theme. It sounds like we're having some audio problems, perhaps. Probably going okay for most people. Is anyone else having trouble hearing this, or can most people hear it? Interesting. Sounds like the person who's having trouble with the audio is set to be on the phone. Maybe there's a problem with that. I would recommend maybe using VoIP or using the built-in GoToMeeting audio if you have that, or if you're set to use phone, actually dial in using the using the audio, using the telephone setting for GoToMeeting. Anyway, so we're going to keep at it. Hopefully you can get those audio portions ironed out. Matt, if you can work with her, that might be nice. Okay, so we're going to keep on with this. So this is a basic HTML theme. Here on my desktop is what came with this theme. So you can see this is just strict HTML with a couple different templates in there. If I open these up on my local site, so not on the internet, you can see that this theme has some nice, they very helpfully sort of designate the sizes of the assets, things like that, and where things go, and what the navs look like. And if we open up the HTML itself, it's pretty simple HTML. Looks like a pretty nicely coded XHTML layout. We've got some wrapper classes. Nicely done HTML. This should be pretty easy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the holder for this Concrete5 theme. So I'm going to go into this is my Concrete5 install, and the first thing you're going to want to do is create a folder inside your root themes folder. So this is not to be confused with the concrete themes folder, which holds stuff like the core plain yogurt theme, the Greek yogurt theme, green salad, all of our other all of our other built-in themes. You want to go into the local root. And so we're going to give this theme the name darkness. You can name this whatever you want. I'm naming this way just because the folder for this HTML theme was called darkness. Next thing we want to do is we want to give this theme a title and description. So that is just a file inside your theme. This is not necessarily required, but it is a good idea so that there is some text next to this theme in the dashboard when you go to install it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a text file in this folder called description.txt. Then we come into description.txt and we give it a brief description. The first line is the title of the theme. The second line, for however long you want it to go, is the sort of brief description of the theme. And this will become clear when we go to install this theme in the dashboard. Next, we want to give this theme a thumbnail. And you want to do this so that you have an approximation in the dashboard of what your theme looks like, just so that you can easily differentiate it from all the other themes that you have in your concrete5 site. And these thumbnails are named thumbnail, and they are PNG files, so .png. I already took a picture of this theme, and it's a JPEG. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert this JPEG into the right-sized thumbnail.png. That's just use whatever image editor you are familiar with, and you adjust the size. You want it to be 120 by 90. This is 120 by 95. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat just a little bit. You obviously don't want to do this because it might make your image look a little funky, but looks pretty good for right now. This is 120 by 90 now, and now you want to save as a PNG. So thumbnail.png, make sure it is actually a PNG file, and you save this. Now on our desktop we have thumbnail.png right sized, and we take this and we copy it into the darkness theme. Next, we want to create the let's say sort of the main default. Every theme in concrete5 needs at least one template, and this template will be used for all pages, and you have to name it a certain way. This is called default.php, and you need this just for any page type. This file has to be in there in case someone comes along and creates a page type in your concrete5 install that doesn't actually have a matching template. So we're going to actually create templates that match their page types in a minute, but the first thing that we usually do is we create the default page type so that something is there for our current page in concrete5. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that template. So what I'm going to use for this default page is I don't want to use the index.html because that to me looks like the home page. If I had to look at this template, I would segment this off into 3 page types. I would take index.html and turn that into a home page type, and it would be used primarily on the home page, probably only on the home page. Then I would look at full-width.html, this one right here, and that to me seems like a full width page type. So full, which is, if you've played with any concrete5 themes, you'll know that there is usually a page type called full, actually. And then finally, this page they have in here called style demo. Well, this actually, while it's a demo for the different styles in their theme, to me, I don't care so much about all the stuff over here and over here. To me, what this really seems is a right sidebar page type, because there's primary content over on the left and then sort of additional content in a right sidebar area over here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that this is the primary form factor for most of the pages in the site. Actually, no, what I'm going to do, now that I think about it, I'm going to backtrack on that just because it's probably going to be a little bit harder to implement. And I'm going to use full width as the basis for my site, just because it's easier for the purposes of this demo. So we're going to start assuming that full width is the basic page type on this site, and then we're going to extend that going forward. So what we're going to do, just simply, is we're going to copy this HTML in here, and then we're going to rename it full.php. And it asks if I'm sure. I am sure. So now I have something called full.php. Now I change it into default.php. This way, when I apply this theme to my site, which I haven't done yet, all the pages in my current site are still going to be okay. They're just all going to use default.php. And if I open this up, you can see this is just HTML. I haven't done anything yet to this to make it editable or to make it work in Concrete 5, but I'm going to just apply it anyway, just to show how easy it is to get started. So you can see I'm still using plain yogurt. I want to apply this theme that I've started using to this site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the dashboard. And you can see I've already got a lot of this working. So down here at the bottom of this list, themes available to install. My thumbnail shows up here. My thumbnail shows up here. My description and title show up here. And I can install it. So that's what I'm going to do. Next, Concrete 5 takes a look inside your theme and gives you some information about stuff it finds in there, and then it will offer to actually create page types based on some of the files you have in your theme. But since we only have default.php, we don't get any options for that. And you can see Concrete 5 will let us know what it's going to do with this file. This is the default template. This file will automatically be used for pages without a template. So that's very helpful. Return to themes. You can see that even though we installed it, plain yogurt is still the active theme. That's because we don't take any action unless you explicitly ask us to. But we're going to do it. And I'm going to apply this theme to every page on my site. Notice the dashboard is still completely functional. But when I come back to the home page, my site looks dramatically different. Now, obviously, it doesn't look perfect. That's because a lot of CSS and assets haven't yet been coded to work in Concrete 5. So we'll get to that in a second. And you'll also notice there's no more concrete edit bar up here. So we will get to how that works as well. Interestingly enough, if I look at the home page on my site and I look at the design tab, you can see there's one page type in my Concrete 5 site. It's called right sidebar. Now this isn't really much of a right sidebar, but you can see that I don't actually have right_sidebar as a template in my theme. But since I do have the default template, there's something for the site to fall back on. So I could make a million page types at this point, and they'd all look exactly like this because they'd all be using the default template. Okay, I'll take questions in a minute. I'm going to keep on with this for a moment. Okay, so the first thing that I notice when I look at this, I notice that this doesn't look right. Obviously, it's not editable yet, but it's not using the style sheets that the theme came with. That's pretty obvious. I haven't actually copied them over. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy over the styles section of this site. And I'm going to refresh this page. And it's still not working. Now, why is that? If we look at the actual source for our page, you can see that this template assumes that styles layout.css, what looks like a primary style sheet for this theme, is found in the current directory. Well, in concrete5, that's not the case. The theme contains all of the assets for the theme, including images, JavaScript styles, unless they're brought in by blocks or some other stuff. So we could get this to work by moving styles out to the root of our website, but that's not how concrete5 operates, and that's not really great practice for bundling stuff in a way that will be easy to reuse later. So what we do instead is we have a way for you to add to your theme templates a way to dynamically grab the location of the style sheet. And that's what I'm doing right here. So this is PHP. It's a function that's basically saying, you know, I want to get the path to the current theme in front of styles.layout.css. And if I refresh the source here, you can see it updates to dynamically pull in the current theme, even though it's in a subdirectory as well. So now if I refresh this page, you can see stuff looks quite a bit better. That's because this theme is pretty simple. It looks like it's only pulling in one CSS file, and that's what we have here. So that's pretty awesome that worked so simply. Next, I have a problem with there being no edit toolbar up here. So you'll notice that I am in fact logged into my concrete5 site, but there is no edit toolbar at the top of the screen. That's because concrete5 doesn't know where to put the edit toolbar since I haven't put it in using PHP. There are a couple different things you need to add to your template in order for concrete5 to know where to put certain dynamically injected elements. And these are JavaScript calls, additional style sheets, that kind of stuff. So here is the first of the required code snippets. This is loading a file called header_required.php in the concrete elements directory. And this is a complicated file that takes care of a lot of stuff. What does it do? It actually dynamically inserts the title of your page into the page template so that you can use concrete5 to handle the title. So we don't actually need this title tag anymore because concrete5 takes care of a page's title. It actually dynamically includes the content type as well as the character set for the page. So we don't need this. I'm not entirely sure what meta HTTP equiv image toolbar is, so I'm going to keep it up here. We definitely don't insert anything about that into the header. Next, we need to duplicate this, and right before the final body tag at the bottom of my template, we need to insert footer required. This is a similar code snippet. It grabs a file named footer_required.php from the elements directory. And footer required does a couple things. One, if you use concrete5's tracking code option in the dashboard, it will automatically include like a web counter or web stats tracking code in the bottom of every page so that you can use a third-party stats tracking service. And more importantly, in concrete5.5, we actually moved a number of JavaScript assets into the footer of the page so that pages would load faster. Because if JavaScript is in the footer of your page, the rest of your page starts loading before that JavaScript is necessary, and you aren't waiting as long before you see some bits of content. So in Concrete 5.5, before 5.5, you could get away just adding header required into your template. But now in 5.5 and beyond, you need both of these things. And it's always good practice to have both of these things anyway, because if you didn't, you'd have stat tracking problems. But footer required is now very much required for a Concrete 5 site. So if I take that and save that and refresh, now you can see that I am in fact in edit mode on my site, and everything is working. And actually, remarkably, this, you can tell this is actually a really nicely done theme, because without any modifications to this style sheet, which I have not seen before, 9:45 Pacific time this morning, I downloaded this theme, and this theme does not seem to impact anything in my Concrete 5 site in an adverse way. So what I mean is, since the Concrete 5 toolbar at the top of the screen and the theme itself actually coexist in the same CSS space, and they're all being loaded on the same page, sometimes themes will have CSS that collides with Concrete 5. And we do our best to make sure that doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. It's not appear to be a problem this time. Everything seems to be showing up pretty nicely here. So that's pretty awesome. There are a number of tips and tricks that you can use if that does seem to be a problem for you. If you look at your HTML, what we will do frequently is we will do something like give the body tag a class, like I might call it darkness theme or body ID darkness theme, and then within your styles layout.css, you might make sure that all of your various classes are prepended by that. So instead of header, you'd have darkness theme header, and that is a good way to make sure that your themes are pretty immune to screwing up the Concrete 5 editing interface. But again, that doesn't seem to be a problem for us right now, which is great.